Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
The famed circuit Zandvoort normally plays host to the Formula One Dutch Grand Prix, but tonight the 14-turn, 4.21 kilometer circuit plays host to round number 6 of the Apex Racing League Super Formula Series only on Apex Racing TV. Joined alongside me is Aaron Smith. I am Avery McDonald with Luis Arrea on the controls. Aaron, you were here last week for round 5 of the Super Formula Series, but round 6 brings us to Circuit Zandvoort. What are your thoughts coming into this great spectacular event?
Well, whatever I saw last week for the first time, watching these spectacular cars go wheel to wheel, well, it's going to be the exact opposite round here. It's very narrow, not that many overtaking opportunities, if any. It's going to be, honestly, I just think a game of strategy today. We're going to see a lot of people possibly just going really, really long. Maybe a few people at the back being brave and just getting those tires out the way, maybe within the first 10 laps. But either way, it's going to be an interesting race. Maybe not for, the classic wheel-to-wheel reasons, but I think it's going to be an entertaining one nonetheless.
Yeah, speaking of strategy, Aaron, you get one shot to get a good qualifying lap. So do you push it to the limit, or do you just try to get a good clean lap? And then the other thing, the one pit stop. We've seen different drivers do different strategy moves. So you have the one required pit stop. So, Aaron, that's one thing I've really liked so far of the 5 rounds that we've seen. You have different strategies that you're able to not just run a race completely through. So it should be a really fun event here.
Yeah, the one-shot qualifying really does throw a spanner in the works into a lot of these drivers, since it's not really something you ever see really on iRacing, especially in officials. I don't know if it's ever been used in officials. It might be. I think there might be one series. The Ferraris might use it, the GT3s. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, it's something that most of these drivers aren't used to. And honestly, if I was doing this, I think the strategy would just be for most of the season. Just be clean and consistent. Go for mostly safe laps. And at the tracks where you're really, really confident, just gun it. And, well, hopefully you'll be able to keep all 4 wheels on the track and not invalidate a lap and start at the front of the field. But, yeah, it just makes for such muddled up grids. And I think we've had, 4 different winners in the first 5 races. So who knows? We might see another one tonight.
Yeah, we see drivers that, either have a qualifying ban or get an off track, which eliminates their time, and move all the way up through the field. Chris Rosenkrantz is one of those drivers who's, done well, and Grassetto who's moved up the pack. So the one thing is you get about groups of 4 or 5 drivers at a time. Once they complete their lap or their time is up, then the next group comes up. So once you get to the end of the qualifying time, that's when we should most likely see our fastest drivers coming out there. So I'm really excited to see what we can get here. I did some practicing earlier here. The point standings are be coming up for you here. But I did some practice here, Aaron, and I was really slow. So these guys are so much faster. But bring up the point standings that we can go through that.
Well, with the points at the moment, as we saw last time out, Marcus Alarcon gained, a huge chunk of points on Lennart Schnabel. He had an absolutely awful round, did the German, and Marcus just played it amazingly with strategy and I think he saved pretty much all of his battery, or whatever you want to call it, his boost, right until the end, and it ended up working for him. And he's only 3 points behind the German, who before then had like a 20-30 point lead. So it's really come down between those two. And will any of the other pros be able to gain any more points on the front too? As well, anything can happen in this. Can Rosenkrantz bounce back after what's been a pretty disappointing season so far, and a really disappointing round last time out at Silverstone? And honestly, a bit of a shame that you missed that round, McDonald. It was a really, really good round.
Yeah, I tuned in a little bit to it, and I tell you what, I was a little bummed that I couldn't make it, but I'm super excited to be back here for another great round at Zandvoort. So every round has been fantastic and exciting. So I mean, this one is what I expect some more.
Yeah, now we take a look at the AM standings, a little bit more one-sided, as Fabio Grosseto could have had a really, really good round and gained a lot of points on Cesar Cabral at the top, but once again, those mistakes just starting to creep in a little bit, and he lost a huge chunk of positions in the early stages and was on for a podium overall, but yeah, these mistakes can cost you occasionally. So it's a 21-point lead for the Brazilian at the top. We've got a few other drivers who are in the mix as well. Dean Vella has been fairly consistent so far this season. He, I believe, finished second in class at Silverstone last time out. And then Edward Pop not too far behind either. And then the rest of the drivers have got some catching up to do. But I believe now we're moving on to the team standings. And didn't look like an amazing round for Alcantech last time out, but Core Sim Racing as well wasn't fantastic. Going to be honest, they kind of had a missed opportunity with, of course, Schnabel making a mistake in the early parts of the race, and I believe Swemstra didn't have an amazing race either. But yeah, Core Sim Racing didn't have an amazing round, but of course, there's every chance during the rest of this season they can gain on Alcantech, as Geeks Energy Sim Racing are just a few 100 points behind Alcantech at the top, sitting nicely in third place. And Masked Devils as well got some good points last time out, being carried only by Marcos Alacron. But now we're going to move into the qualifying session, and I believe we are on to either our last or second to last drivers.
Yeah, it looks like could be the last driver's Alacron, who's super fast. Like you said, he's the only one with the team points. We'll see what he'll be able to run. Oh, up into seventh, so a decent time for him. So on your timing and scoring, you see the green and the white on your left side. The green is for the pro class, and the white is for the amateur class. So it's really cool to, I've said before, for the amateur classes to be able to race for something. And Edward Pop, who's been is the fastest so far, and he's been very quick, Aaron, and he's a super smart driver. Whenever it's been a tough situation, he always seems to make the right moves.
Yeah, we saw that at Silverstone. He was definitely one of those drivers who just kind of kept it fairly clean. He was really good with other racers throughout the race, and unfortunately, I don't think it worked out for him too well in the end. I just think he lacked a little bit of pace. But, well, at the moment, he's top of the AMs, so it could be a change of pace for the Romanian driver, and Rossetto's only about a 10th behind. So the AMs going to be going at it, and, well, the pros, Lafaro, 4/10 in the lead right now. I mean, that is a pretty significant gap.
Yeah, that is really fast. I mean, we'll see if Aberdeen is second and Schnabel's third, Rosenkrantz fourth, if they're going to be able to keep up with his pace, because the towing is very important here. But the one thing we always have going on with these races is the overtake. So they have the boost that they get 200 seconds for. But what we've seen so far a lot happen, Aaron, is they wait till the end of the race to use it.
Yeah, which honestly I think is the best strategy. Using it at the start, it will just come back to bite you, since, what if you have, a spin or an incident later on in the race? And, well, I mean, we saw the likes of Marcus just saving it genuinely until I think the second to last lap, where you can just activate it and not think about it for the rest of the race. It's just on permanently, and you can zoom past all of your rivals at lightning speed. But honestly, there's not too many straights at this track, so maybe we might see people using it a bit more throughout the race, but I still think people will save the big chunk of it right until the end, so they can do one final push to gain those last few positions. But yeah, we're just eagerly awaiting the start, and that's one thing that's always really, really exciting with these cars is, well, they're so difficult to get off the line quickly. It's like the F1 cars; they're so difficult to just get every inch of horsepower down onto those rear tires perfectly with no wheel spin. It's one of the hardest things to do. It might not seem like it, but it can drop you from first to last if you're not careful. And if you're really not careful, you can spin up your rear tires, and that might be the end of your race.
Yeah, so I just did a little bit of quick math calculations. You can get, if you run the fastest time, which is what we get really close to towards the end of the race, but you have about 150 seconds of for 2 laps, and that gives you 50 seconds to play with for 45 laps. So um, it's really going to be curious to see what lap times are going to get towards the end of the race. But you got to get to the end, you got to finish the first part of the race. So qualifying is just about concluding. Got a little bit of time left, but we got 14 or 15 drivers split down a lap, so that's pretty good considering only 6 drivers didn't get a lap in, and just because they had an off track. So um, maybe we'll see some guys run through the field. We got a couple, 3 pros that didn't get a lap time, and a couple amateurs. Ben Ford, one of those, and Chazar, one of they're both new to the racing series, so they didn't get a clean lap in. So I got to start towards the back of the field. But we're really curious to see how they're going to be able to handle coming into the series for the first time.
Yeah, we always love to see new people signing up to these series, and well, we'll see how they all get on right as the race gets underway. Will they take a relatively backseated approach? We just don't know, but yeah, for sure, I cannot wait for this race to get underway.
I know, Aaron. We said before the show started that would either like to be in the booth or be racing these cars, because this series has put on some of the best races I've been able to call in the last couple of years. So, um, if what the first 5 rounds that brought to us, I expect something similar to 6. But while we got a little bit of time, I want to thank one of the people that support us. That's the Apex Racing Academy for if you want a good setup place to get your setups. They got a great setup sync app where you just get in the car and it downloads all the setups, 10 tops, open wheel cars. I mean, you name it, Aaron. I've been a customer of Apex Racing Academy before I started doing races with Apex Racing TV. So it's a great partner with the Apex Racing League. So we want to thank them for supporting us. I'm a huge fan of it, Aaron. But here we go. The grid is about ready to start. And here's your starting lineup on the pole: 4/10 quicker. Giuseppe Laforo over Lee Aberdeen. Lennart Schnabel third. Chris Rosenkrantz fourth. Jose Alzagari fifth, who's always fast. Kevin Zwamstra in sixth. Marcus Alicon seventh, followed by Malik Paluch in eighth. David Moeller. Edward Pop, your fastest amateur driver, with Fabio Grassetto, who's always got some speed. Juha Tamboy is in 12th. Down to 13th place is Marco Cesna, and then Cesar Cabral in 14th. Dorian Arroyo and Cesar Jonovic is in 16th. Carl Winkler, Ben Ford, Dean Vea, Samuel Ma is going to round out the 20-car field. We got 20 cars here, Aaron Smith. I tell you what, man, this could be a fantastic show. Just waiting for all the cars to grid.
It definitely could be, and well, if anything is to go by from what we've seen at the start of this season up to now, well, even though Zandvoort isn't really known for having the best on-track action in the world, maybe this series is going to be a world first. Who knows? I mean, we honestly, I think I was talking about this with Sam when we were here last week. My favorite moment I've seen from this season, anyway, is 100% the Spa race. That last lap overtake was just. I have no words to describe what I saw that day. And if we get something like that today, if we get a run to the line, which is very, very possible here, so I mean, I will be screaming my nuts off. So anybody that is watching at the end of the race, you might want to turn your volume down.
Thanks for the warning. I will make sure I do that for me. But yeah, one thing, Aaron, we've had coming here to the Super Formula Series, we gone to tracks, they maybe don't have the quite overtaking or don't know what to expect, but they end up being a great race. But just waiting for the lights. LaFaro and Aberdeen going to lead the field to the green as the lights go out. It's green flag here for the Apex Racing League Super Formula Series. LaFaro gets a great jump with Schnabel and Aberdeen behind him, 3 wide behind him, Alzagari, Rosenkrantz, and Zlumster. Around goes Rosenkrantz and Alzagari.
That's Rosenkrantz's day. Already ruined pretty much as it was last week. But like you said, an amazing start for LaFaro. We've got Winkler, I think, who's had an incident somewhere. He's managed to get back on the track and is down to 14th. Cabral as well has had an incident. He's dropping down the field. That's our AM championship leader who's not doing so well at the start of this race. But it's another week that Rosenkrantz, we know he has good pace, but off the start, I don't know if it's luck or what's going on for the German, but he just can't seem to have any kind of luck in this series. And well, we will surely get a replay of what happened at that start later on. But first, we got to get through this lap as there's many drivers going side by side. There's a Tambwe going up the places. He's up to 3rd in AM. There's another car in the background who's losing a few positions. I think that's Giovinacci. But wow, what a first lap we've had as everyone starts to settle in for this final sector where there's not really that many places left to overtake. You kind of have to wait for turn 1 again as we come round the final proper corner and head onto the banking. And that concludes lap 1 with LaFaro 1 second in the lead of Schnabel already, but he will try and tuck into that draft as much as he can. And Zwemstra's lost a place and is fighting back with Porsche up further up as they go side by side through turn 1, but just about make it unscathed as Cabral uses yet another position.
Yeah, Alzagari all the way in the pits. You got to have that one required pit stop. So he's got that pit stop down, using that quick fix, going to get back out there, and he's going to have to make a run. He's going to have clean track, but Rosenkrantz staying out there side by side. Ford and Vea. Ford, new to the Apex Racing League Super Formula Series. Great to have him here. I want to thank a lot of the new guys for coming in at round 6. It's still a good time to get going. But I tell you who's really happy about this, Aaron Smith. That's Giuseppe LaFaro. Great start for him. 1.3 seconds is the gap. He's going to have to just maintain a good gap here, and he's probably going to sit in a good seat to not have to use that overtake till the end of the race with a 1.5 second gap. So as you see the gap from LaFaro, Schnabel, and Aberdeen, the top 3, and Zwelmstra in 4th. So that's one thing we've seen, Aaron, with LaFaro. He's going to has a very good pace. He was 4/10 quicker. He's just going to have to try to pull away.
Yeah, most definitely. And I don't really think there's much Schnabel's going to have to do about it. But here is Edward Pop going side by side with Muller as well. Alacron has just overtaken Porch. Porch has had... he's off in turn 1. You can see there. He's off onto the gravel. And that's going to slow him down a lot as they nearly go 3 wide. They have to be careful with cars checking up here. Different lines from different drivers, but you can obviously see that high line that everyone else but Pop took is so much quicker. It just helps boost you off the exit of that corner. As Cessna, who put in a real challenge last time out of Silverstone, unfortunately he's not having as good of a race. He's down in 11th place right now with his fellow Italian Giovinacci just behind. But yeah, like you were talking about, LaFaro's had an absolutely electric start. And if his qualifying pace is anything to go off, if he's 4/10 a lap quicker than the rest of the field, minimum, then I don't think he's going to be challenged for the rest of this race unless something seriously goes wrong.
Yeah, you just have to run a good pace. And there's Cabro, who's always been running really strong lately, up into 13th, and just trying to run his way. And there's Edward Pop, like we said, very good racecraft, and sitting in 10th place, 3rd in the amateur division behind Grassetto's in 6th. But side by side, it's Pop and Cezanna, and they're going to go side by side into 1.
Yeah, Pop trying to go for this overtake would be incredible if he could as an AM. He's not giving up, but unfortunately could not get past the Italian as he just stays ahead of him at the moment. But yeah, we've had a lot of shuffling up and down the grid so far. Everyone has either lost or gained a place, apart from Lafaro, unsurprisingly. He's just been, well, an absolute unit for these first few laps, and yeah, like I said at the start, he may go unchallenged this entire race. He's already 2 seconds ahead of Schnabel, who we know isn't slow. So, Lafaro has pulled an absolute worldly out today.
Take a look at a replay of the start with Chris Rosenkrantz and Al Zagari.
Yeah, you can see Rosenkrantz didn't get off to an amazing start. Goes a bit deep into turn 1. And I believe that was Aberdeen ahead of him, who just jinked a little bit as we headed in to turn 1. And that put him off a bit and just ended up going into Al Zagari, unfortunately. Both of those guys suffering as a result. So, yeah, not an ideal start for the race for those two. And they will be keen to get back into the thick of things later on. But this is what happened to Pulch as well. He went off into turn 1, and that's just too much speed into turn 1, and didn't actually lose any places that time. But I believe he had another incident at some point during this race where he just completely missed his braking zone and went into the gravel trap into turn 1. But yeah, we've got Cole Winkler in the pits already. He is going for the strategy of pitting early, and we'll see if that is the strategy that ends up working or not. But I'm going to be honest, I don't really think it's the strategy to go on. I think going as late as possible is the best way to go, as, well, you've just got fresher tyres at the end of the race.
Well, the one thing we've seen when you come into the pits, Aaron, is if you got the cold tires, you're so used to having warm tires. So you have to be mindful of that. There's Cabrel and Ford. Ford's moved up 5 spots from the start of the race. Remember, he didn't have a qualifying time because he had an off track. Oh, and a tire lock up in front of them. That was Edward Pop, who's able to pull away a little bit, but Ford trying to stay in that toe of Cabrel in front of him.
Yeah, it's not easy to stay in the tow around this track, to be honest. It's especially during that middle sector, the dirty air can get to you quite a bit, but Ben Ford seems unfazed by it. He's going to go for a move into turn 1, just down the inside. Be careful, guys. Not the easiest place to overtake, but probably the best on the track as they still go side by side. He's going to have to be so careful. They're giving each other just about enough room. That's amazing racing. The switchback from Ben Ford. What a move. He puts himself up into 13th place. He read Cabral like an absolute book. That was a superb overtake. And we're only on lap 6. That could be overtake of the race already. That was amazing from a rookie as well.
Yeah, he's just sitting in there along the banking, make that switchback move. I mean, the Cable had a rough turn there, and Dean Vea was trying to pass him, but what a pass by Ben Ford, who's up 5 spots.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic, and we're going to see a replay of how he did it. I mean, I know it's only for 13th place, but you got to give the man credit. Leaves him just about enough room, takes the higher line, gets the switch back, and look at the exit speed that he gets. So much confidence on the power in that Super Formula car, and puts himself up another place. Ben Ford, who this is, I believe, his first race of the season. And, well, if that's a sign of things to come, then if he can get a qualifying lap in, he'll be absolutely superb. But this is Vea trying to look down the inside of Cabral, but just a little bit too far back on this occasion. But will Dean Vea try and do what Ben Ford just did a lap ago, and unfortunately just did not get the line that he wanted, as Cabral doesn't really look that quick at the moment. It's a bit of a shame. He's a bit far off the pace, all the way down in 14th. And this could possibly give a chance to Grosseto, who's up to 6th. It could give him a chance to gain some points back. And I mean, I have some experience fighting Grosseto. Of course, last season in F3, he was my main championship rival. I beat him. And yeah, I mean, the guy is rapid. And to be honest, should probably be a pro driver this season. Not going to lie, he is really, really quick, is the Italian. And well, no surprises that he's up 5 places, up into 6th, and he's keeping fair pace with the guys in front. He's not too far off, and he's just pulling away from the guys behind.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, he's been always doing good every race so far this season. Just super fast. He just ran his fastest lap, which is very fast. But Lavaro is in another atmosphere
Time
fast.
zone,
But
yeah.
yeah, he's in your time zone, and well, I'm in my time zone that much slower. So there's Lafaro. The gap has gone to 3.4 seconds over Schnabel, and the Aberdeen has pulled away at just under or around 3 seconds to or Schnabel's pulled away from 3 seconds to Aberdeen because Aberdeen has fallen back to Zvalmstra. So Lafaro is just running fast. I mean, running about 2 to 3 tenths a second faster than second place. But I think the guy to really look out for, though, is what kind of run can Al Zagari make and Rosenkrantz, who's way back there. But, they've already done their pit stop. Well, Al Zagari has, Rosenkrantz hasn't, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Rosenkrantz has yet, and there's Ford up another place. Well, he's not got it done just yet, as Pop goes super early on the brakes and just lets Ford pass. And, the Rum Racing driver's having a stellar debut race so far. He's not doing too bad, up to 12th. We're going to see a replay of how he got it done. Is it going to be another switchback move for the Brits? I believe it will be. He goes a little bit wide, and yeah, that's another switchback. He loves these switchback, doesn't he? I mean, look at this. A debut driver in a car that he probably doesn't have too much experience in and is up to 12th place. He's on a mission. He honestly could be for a top 10 finish at the end of this race, but honestly, I'm talking too well about him, and I know what happens when I do that. The commentator's curse is going to bite me in the backside if I carry on, so we're going to move on from Ben Ford for now before I end up jinxing him. Dean Veyer still trying to get past Cesar Cabral. He's been really, really hindered by the Brazilian for the last, I want to say, 3-4 laps. And, I don't know how much experience you have with Zandvoort, McDonald, but is there any place where you'd ideally want to make an overtake on this track?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I do have some experience here, but most of my experience is getting laps. So, the first turn is a very good spot to make a overtake. But if you just got raw speed like Ford did, and Edward just gave it to him, that's good racecraft from Edwards. So from a guy who's about 2 or 3 seconds off the pace, yeah, you just let him by easily.
Yeah, he just needs to get a little bit of a better exit around that final corner, and he'll be right as rain. As Arroyo now moves to last place, as I believe he's had an incident somewhere, as Winkler moves up another place, as there is where Cabral is losing out, just on the exit of corners. He just seems to not have the confidence to put the power down the way he wants to. And, it might be a matter of time before Veyer can get past, but he's not making it easy for himself at all. He just needs to put the hammer down a little bit harder, especially around that final corner, and he should be able to get past the Brazilian with ease, maybe even with the assist of some overtake as well, if he can, just sacrifice possibly about 10 seconds of use, which might bite him in the back later on in the race, but I think he needs to make this move. He's losing way too much time. But here's Marco Cessna going a little bit slidey into there, as he's now coming under pressure from his fellow Italian Giovinazzi behind. And don't leave out Ben Ford, who's only about 1.5 seconds behind, and he could easily catch up to these guys within a matter of a few laps if they're not careful. And Ben Ford is actually semi-matching the leader's pace. The three people who are in the 15s right now is Lafaro, Schnabel, and Ben Ford. And to be fair, Marcus Alacron also did just set a 15 on that last lap. But yeah, those four guys are really setting the pace right now. Of course, the two front guys are just running away, and that's Cessna into the wall. He just lit up those rear tyres on the exit of that corner. And that is the end of the Italian's race after such a good Silverstone. It brings his Dutch race to an end. Well, within the matter of a few seconds. What do you think of this, McDonald?
Well, he's sitting there going into the corner and just gets on the throttle super hard onto the curb, into the grass, and goes, "Hello, wall, I'm going to take you a little bit of piece of you." But man, he was having such a great run.
Yeah, it's a real shame, and well, that's him out of the race. There's not really much point him carrying on if he can even get out of the pits again. and that's a real shame. But it does promote everyone behind him up another place. So good job for them, I guess. But yeah, unlucky for the Italian. And he is our first retirement of the race, 12 laps into this. And well, the three Alcantech drivers currently sitting second, third, and fourth. This is going pretty well for their championship hopes right now, as well, Core Sim Racing aren't having an amazing round at the moment, as they have Polch down in 9th place, and also Winkler, who's currently in 18th. So if things stay as they are, it's going to be Alcantech just extending their lead at the top of the team's championship, as Winkler has not had the best start to the race, but can he bounce back after an early pit stop? We will find out as the race comes to a close. But we're only 12 laps into this 47 lap race. These cars are rapid, but these races are fairly long. And well, when you're in these longer races, McDonald, it does change your mindset a little bit to the normal sprint races these guys are used to.
Yeah, absolutely. You go into a 47 lap race here at Zandvoort. It's a marathon. You have to make it through the race, like some great people have said in racing. To finish first, you must first finish. So LaFaro is doing pretty good at that so far, but so is Alicon. It just, you have to try to maintain a good pace, and when you get towards the end of the race, that's when you can really start picking up your pace, just because you're a little bit faster, you got the track down a little bit more, you're in a good rhythm. So you just have to try to limit your mistakes and have a decent pace.
Yeah, and from someone who's been doing a lot of IMSA racing recently, I can tell you that the longer races really do. I would definitely say these longer races are really good if you'd like to improve your racecraft. It just teaches you a little bit more patience. I know, of course, these aren't multi-class, so it's not as important, but it just teaches you to look after the car a bit more, save a bit more fuel, save those tires as well, which could be crucial in this race especially. Saving fuel as well could be a crucial factor if somebody in this race wants to start with less fuel and save a bit, because of course they're not allowed to refuel in these cars. So I mean, that's what they do in Formula One. They underfuel the cars at the start of the race and just fuel save, because it is just that little bit quicker with a few kilos less of fuel weighing you down. You don't have to push every lap to constantly burn it off, and then you're scrubbing the tires, and you can see how that would negatively affect the car. So I definitely think these longer races just improve you as a driver as a whole. And I definitely think if you are wanting to improve as a driver, just hop in a longer race session. That you might not like it, but it will definitely improve you long term. Definitely in terms of racecraft anyway. Maybe not in terms of pace, but it will just improve you as a whole package. But the gaps on track are starting to come down a little bit now, just across the board, really. We've got Alarcon closing in on Zwampstra. We've got Muller closing in on Grosseto, Polch closing in on Tambui, and Alzagari closing in on Mar as well. So we've got some battles brewing up across the board. And honestly, I think Polch might be able to make easy work of Tambui in front. But I think the biggest and most difficult battle is going to be between Alarcon and Zwampstra for 4th place, as Alarcon probably can sense that he is a lot quicker than the Dutchman in front, and you can see he's tucking in nicely to the slipstream. Is this going to be a move into turn one? He's going to have to be super brave on the brakes, but I just don't think it's going to be enough this time round, and he just has to tuck in back into 5th place.
Yeah, if you're going to use that overtake, you gotta be able to make that pass. As you've seen, he had the overtake on, disengaged it, so it will not be able to be used for a while. So a good attempt for him, but he's catching back up to the field with the up to 4th, and maybe if they can really work on their pace, get up to battle for the final spot on the podium. Remember, 1 mandatory pit stop for all the drivers. 3 of them have made it. That's Alzagari, Winkler, and Cezanna. So we'll see when they make their pit stop. But kind of like we said, we either see people go at the halfway point, Aaron, or they go towards probably the 38, 39 lap mark. I would personally try to go as far as I could, just because you get the fresher tires and towards the end of the race, because there's not much tire wear.
Yeah, that's the thing. As me and Sam were talking about last week, and While we are talking about tyres, there's a move going on for 9th place. There's a cute little battle going on there between Giovinazzi and Pulch. That should be fairly interesting to watch. We've got plenty of battles actually going on. Muller, of course, we were just watching, trying to get the slipstream on Grosseto, and now Pulch is tucking in nicely to the slipstream, and Giovinazzi there choosing to activate the boost, but is it going to be enough to defend? It is going to be just about enough, but that might bite him later on in the race. We will find out, of course. And Ford is not too far behind as well. Excuse me, but on to the topic of tyres again. Yeah, like me and Sam were discussing last week, the tyre wear on these cars isn't really that much. It doesn't really affect you until, I'd say, the tyres are pretty much done. That's when you start to feel it. So, oh, excuse me again, my throat, man. But yeah, we'll probably see people pitting around the 35 to 40 lap mark. And I'd say for most of the grid, it just makes the most sense to go the longest, which just, you know, it gives you fresher tyres. And honestly, I think at a track like this, I think I'm trying to think what would be better, the undercut or the overcut, because last week I think me and Sam thought that the overcut would be really overpowered, and then it actually turned out that it was about the same. So what do you think would be the right pit strategy here?
I think the biggest thing is when you're going to come down and pit, just have to understand that your tires are going to be cold, and you've been driving on warm tires for so long that you just don't overshoot corners. We've seen drivers make the mistake. So whether you do the undercut or the overcut, Aaron, I think the biggest importance is the 2 laps after you pit.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Your in lap and 2 of your out laps really do matter. As honestly, when you come into those pits for the fresh tires, the biggest worry that you've got, honestly, isn't the amount of grip that the tires give you going through high-speed corners. It's just getting on the power, to be honest. It's just that lateral grip from the tire that you just lack. You have to be so gentle with those tires on the first lap or 2. Otherwise, well, you'll just spin them up and end up spinning, as these cars are quite unforgiving if you do light up those rear tires. So yeah, they just have to be careful coming out of the pit lane. And well, if you can do that right, you'll be able to jump the opponent ahead of you. And I'm going to have a guess around here that the overcut probably is going to be the best strategy, since last time out Silverstone has a fairly long and slow pit lane, so pit stops lose you a lot more time than they would around here, which is a bit shorter and cuts the first corner a little bit. I know Silverstone does cut the last 2 corners, but it is really slow. Really slow. I think it's about 37 miles an hour at Silverstone, which is just not fun. It's really not fun activating that speed limiter and just crawling down the pit lane, and you just want to drive into a wall. It's that painful. It really is. And it's a bit like Fuji as well. The Fuji pit lane, I'd say, is even worse. You know, it's one of the longest pit lanes in the world, and it's 37 miles an hour. Like, why? I don't understand why some of these pit lanes are so slow. It's really cruel. But yeah, I think today Zandvoort's a fairly forgiving pit lane, and I think the overcut will do these drivers just fine. As we see Winkler trying to gain another place. I believe this is going to be the first place he's going to have gained in a while. Can he get the move done on Ma? He doesn't really want to spend any more time behind him than he has to. Otherwise, it will cost him dearly towards the end of the race, as he's one of the drivers who've already pit, so he's got to make this move now.
Yeah, absolutely needs to make that move, but he's got to make it clean. You can't afford to any damage to the race car. Just when you already come down and make your pit stop that early, if you have to come in again, your race is completely ruined. So we'll just see where he makes the move. He knows he's faster. It was a couple tenths fast, about a second faster 2 laps ago. But we're just gonna have to wait and see, man. He's got pace. He knows he's faster, but it's like he's not able to get the power down. Now he's onto that straight. Looks like the overtake's on. No, it's off now. But man, he's just trying to find a good spot to make a pass, Aaron.
Yeah, and it's really, there's Ma actually letting him through, which is fairly nice of Samuel Ma to do, actually. Didn't think he'd be courteous to do that, but fair play to the man. Didn't really see much point in fighting Winkler And well, Samuel Marr has not even come in for a pit stop yet. His race has not exactly gone to plan, as he's a couple seconds a lap off the pace compared to most of the field, unfortunately. But yeah, Winkler there down the main straight. I don't really see the point in him using that overtake. It's kind of just cost him a little bit there, as here's Grosseto still defending from Muller behind, who I don't think is putting in that big of a challenge onto the Italian driver. He's kind of just keeping him honest, and if he senses an opportunity to overtake, he will, but he's not going absolutely maximum pace to try and get past Grosseto. There's a little bit of a lock up there from the Italian, just going through turn 3. As Muller just sitting behind comfortably right now, and not using any of his overtake, which I believe is the best thing to do. You don't really want to be caught out being a bit desperate and trying to get past the opponent in front of you. And while using the overtake is more of a last ditch thing anyway. But yeah, not like I said at the beginning of the race, it's not really a race about wheel-to-wheel action. It's more about strategy at a track like this, where it's a bit difficult to follow. The gaps can be quite big. And, well, hopefully later on in the race, when everyone comes in for their pit stop, we'll see everyone bunched up again nicely and we can get some battles going on.
Yeah, absolutely. See this drivers in line, and that's kind of like you said, what we see at Zandvoort. They're being mindful of track limits, and it's just all about being smooth and just good brakes and good throttles out of the corner. Because with these cars, what you get onto that throttle, if you get on a little too hard, like we've already seen today, off into the wall you go. So very, very cautious on the throttle, just very smooth, good smooth inputs. And Grosseto's doing a really good job at leading the amateurs, but 6th place overall, which is very fantastic for him.
As we see another driver, Rosenkrantz, coming into pit lane for the first time. This is lap 21. We're just a few laps off of halfway now. And Rosenkrantz just coming in before the halfway mark, and not sure what strategy he's trying to go for. He's already lost out to Al-Jagari as he's coming out the pits now. I believe he will be pretty much in last place, only just ahead of Arroyo, who is already a lap down. I believe he had an incident as Rosenkrantz only just comes out of the pits. So, yeah, the German driver not having the best pace either. He's about a second off the guys at the front on his best lap. So yeah, not going great for the German this race. He's not quite had the electric pace we've seen from him in early parts of the season, and of course he had the incident on lap 1, so maybe just hindering his pace a little bit. But yeah, a bit of a shame for the German. He just needs one good race just to get the car nice and hooked up, and he'll be right back in there. But not looking like it's going to go his way today. But Grosseto still defending from another German right behind him. He's doing a pretty good job at the moment. He's not wondering too much. He's not worrying too much about the guys behind. I think he's just focusing on his own race. You haven't seen him make any defensive moves, really. You've got his fellow Italian as well, Giovinacci, in 9th place, who's just a few seconds behind these guys, who had some really, really good pace last time out and is still setting some good laps, but seems to always get caught up in the midfield, unfortunately. And I believe if he was more up the front, he'd be challenging definitely for a podium, as he's currently 10 seconds off said podium at the moment. So looking a bit unlikely for Giovinacci today, but he had an amazing comeback at Silverstone. So, hey, maybe he can do it again.
Yeah, maybe he could do it again. While the race has kind of calmed down a little bit, let's think another one of our supporters, SDK Gaming, adds virtual live HUD to your iRacing, and it's our graphics that we use for Apex Racing TV. So check them out. You can broadcast your league or series with SDK Gaming, and it's a great software. I've used it before joining Apex Racing TV, and if you're really looking forward to looking for something that's kind of a good all-in-one for either live streaming, or broadcasting, SDK Gaming is the place to be. So check them out. They man, I tell you what, Aaron, I'm so glad that I've been using it for so long. That's very customizable.
Yeah, there's so many things that you can do with SDK Gaming. Of course, QC Agamoto is one of the big drivers that uses SDK. I know plenty of other drivers who also use it for just simple things like hiding your setup on stream or just using it as an overlay during the race. And yeah, especially for broadcasts, it's used pretty much all over the place. If you see a broadcast on iRacing, there's about a 90% chance that it's using some form of SDK Gaming because it's just so simple, so easy to use. So yeah, I mean, we use it here at Apex, so it must be good, right? So yeah, do go check out SDK Gaming, and well, while you do that, maybe do it a bit later on so you can stick around and watch the rest of this race as Muller now comes into the pit lane. I suspect he's going to be trying to go for an undercut on Grosseto, as he's been stuck behind him for quite a long time now. So it makes sense for him to come into the pits and just try something different and get ahead of these guys, and he'll be in a bit of a clean air spot between Grosseto and a Larkon ahead. Excuse me again. God, what's going on with my lungs today? I don't know. But now, speaking of Alarcon, he's right in this battle for the podium places right now between Aberdeen, Zwempstra, and Alarcon. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of team play here between Zwempstra and Aberdeen. Are they going to work together using the slipstream of each other? I suspect so, to keep the Spanish driver behind them, and then maybe at the end of the race they will be free to fight for the podium. So that could get possibly spicy between the two Alcantech drivers for third place overall. But yeah, we're going to have to wait a little while for that, as well, we're only on lap 25. We're just over halfway now in this race. And speaking of Aberdeen, he comes into the pits just over halfway, and this might give a chance to Alarcon to go down the outside for a move, but just didn't have enough braking power to go for it. And Zwempstra just about stays in third. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of people come into the pits this lap. We've got Aberdeen, Grosseto, and Tambay all coming into the pits. So maybe we were thinking people would go a little bit further towards the mid-30s. But, I mean, what do we know?
Right. What do we know? So it was about 20 seconds gap between Alzagari and Grosseto and Aberdeen, who pitted. So Alzagari comes out 11th. So it takes about 20-ish seconds to come down and pit, it looks like. So yeah, Alzagari is sitting in 11th. So your top 9 drivers have not made a pit stop yet, so they have to get that required pit stop. And Zwempstra looking really good with Alarcon behind him. Lafaro is still showing the way. His car's been rotating and motivating all day long.
Yeah, it really has. It's looked like an absolute dream to drive for him. He's just so comfortable with it. And I believe Cabral's just had an incident somewhere as well. But here comes Zwempstra into the pit lane as he loses third place. And it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in terms of everyone else. There is a Ben Ford as well coming into the pits. So, yeah, we were very wrong with the predictions of the pit lanes. I
normally am.
Yeah, we were predicting like mid-30s, but well, we were very wrong. Maybe the tyre wear around here is a little bit worse than we thought. And here comes Zwempstra. You can see that is Aberdeen. What strategy is going to work? But remember, Zwempstra is going to be on the cold tyres, and Aberdeen has just about gotten ahead. But like I just said, Zwempstra is going to have to be getting used to those cold tyres for about a lap or two. And he's not going to have a fun time. He's going to lose probably another second to Aberdeen. And, well, it looks like the undercut seems to be the way to go here.
Yeah, really good job by Aberdeen here. Remember now, the top 4 drivers need to make a pit stop. That's Lafaro, Schnabel, Alarcon, and Giovinacci. And so we'll see what happens. And around goes, I believe is that Edward Pop?
Yeah.
You don't see that too often out of him.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened there. He might have just lit it up on the X. He did. And this is exactly what I was talking about. You just lack the lateral grip from the tyres. It does not want to light up. And yeah, he spins straight out of the pit lane. And that might be an unsafe pit for him, pit exit. So not only has he just lost a bunch of places and time, he also might have a drive-through or a stop and hold.
Yeah, that happens to me about every lap. So don't feel bad, Edward. So, but back up to Lafaro showing the way, and there's Edward Pop right there. He's just, had an oops. It happens to the best of us. Happens to me all the time. But so it's unfortunate for him. He's always been having a good run, but you get one drop week. So maybe he'll use it this time.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's going to be the strategy for him today. Just forget about this race. If he does have a penalty, which I'd be surprised if he didn't, spinning out the pit lane is quite a big oopsie, and he's not come in to serve anything on this lap. So maybe I'm wrong. Again, not for the first time this race. So yeah, maybe I should just shut up about strategy because I've not been too good at it so far this race. So, but the undercut didn't seem to work for Muller. He's still stuck behind Grosseto, unfortunately. So yeah, he's just going to have to try and overtake the Italian somehow, possibly using a bit of the overtake. And well, he's got a little bit older tyres than the Italian in front of him, but shouldn't make too much of a difference as they come around the last corner. Is Muller going to use any of the overtake on this lap? And he actually can't. You can see the light flashing above his head, which means that he is not allowed to use any for the next 100 seconds. So he did try and overtake him either on the previous lap or sometime a little bit before that. And he's getting into the desperation now. As you can see, a little bit of a lunge down the inside. He's just trying anything to get past the Italian. And I think he knows he's quicker, but in moments like these, there's just nothing you can do, especially at a track like Zandvoort. You're just stuck. There's nothing you can do. You have to be a lot quicker than the person in front of you to get past them. And you have to have a lot of bravery and a lot of skill, especially on your left foot. So we'll see if Muller can pull something out of the bag over this next 20-odd laps as Schnebel comes into the pits from second place, which promotes Alarcon into second place. And only 2 drivers yet to pit in this race. I stand corrected, 3. Once again, my maths not coming in. Actually, 4. I can't count, can I? Really, I'm so bad at this.
Okay.
I went from 2 to 3 to 4. I should just stop talking about the pits, to be honest. It's just not looking good for me, is it? Oh god. But anyway, Lafaro, he's leading by 20 seconds at the moment. Surprise, surprise. He's been an absolute weapon today, and his best lap a 14.994. That is an incredible lap time. A lap time that nobody else. Never mind. Giovinazzi's just said a 14.6. So once again, I will shut up.
Usually they say 3 strikes at the old ball game, but now we're up to about 5 or 6. So that batting average is struggling today. But that's okay. That's why we're in the booth, Aaron, and not on the track. Because if we were doing a strategic race calls, we'd probably be like 21st, 22nd, multiple laps down because we decided to pit 5 times. So
I mean, all I'm going to say, I support Ferrari, so that's probably where I get it from. Just saying, I just love Ferrari so much. I turned into all of their strategists. So yeah, I've gotten lap times wrong. I don't even know how many people have pit. Do I even know how to wheel? Probably not. But either way, Giovinazzi is setting some good pace right now. He is currently the fastest man on track. And that's what I was saying earlier. If he gets into some clean air and if he has a better qualifying, he will be up there. I wholeheartedly promise you, he will be up there. And who knows, when he comes into the pits, he could overcut a few people who he was trying to get in front of. And, well, we eagerly anticipate his pit stop, as he is currently just about 20 seconds ahead of the guys he was battling.
Yeah, I think he'll end up coming out just losing 1 spot to Schnabel. So that's with my mathematical calculations using my Casio old school 1990s version calculator. But we'll see what happens here. But David Moeller putting on a run, trying to get around Grosseto. Last lap time similar, within a couple tenths. So just trying to find a spot. Here comes Alarcon in the pits. We'll see what he's able to come down. 4 tires overtake on for Moeller, but look at that time, 82 seconds left. He doesn't have a lot of time left.
Yeah, he's absolutely desperate to get past Grosseto, and well, I mean, he's going to keep it on all the way until turn 1, I think. So he's really wanting to get past the Italian, and well, who knows how much Grosseto is used, but this is his best opportunity yet. Is Grosseto going to use the boost to try and defend? I don't think he is. Tucks into the slipstream. Look at the speed differential as we head into turn 1. Is Grosseto going to be braver on the brakes? He is. He's just locked up and avoids Muller. And Muller has finally finally gotten ahead of Grosseto, but he had to use about 120 odd seconds to get past. Not sure that's the best strategy in the world, as your race leader finally comes into the pits. So, well, there's now only 2 people who haven't pitted as well. Now there's only one, as Samuel Marr takes the words right out of my mouth and also comes into the pits. We'll see if Giovinazzi also comes in. He is the last man who has not come in for a pit yet, and comes around the final corner. Is he going to choose to lead for a lap? He is, and activating the overtake button. So Giovinazzi really going for it. Is he even going to come out ahead of Lafaro? And no, Lafaro's gap was so big that he could pit and come out in the lead.
That's when you know you're fast.
I was going to say, Max Verstappen? Hello? I don't even think Verstappen's been able to do that all season. Just
yeah.
Red Bull should just hire Lafaro at this point.
I was going to say Verstappen ain't no Lafaro. Let me tell you what. He's fast.
That is incredible speed from the Italian, and well, we'll just have to wait and see where Giovinazzi comes out. He's setting some really, really good lap times right now, and he could be in the battle for the podium at this rate. As this is going to be a bit tight as Alarcon and Aberdeen go side by side. This is one of the corners you don't see overtakes happen very often. They're still side by side. Be careful, guys. Very close. They are inches apart from each other, but Alarcon just about stays ahead, and Aberdeen, nothing he can do there. And I didn't even notice this as well. I believe at the start of this battle, Alarcon was behind both of the Alcantech drivers, and he's done an absolutely worldly pit strategy and has come ahead of both of them. And, well, Giovinazzi does finally come into the pits. Well, is Giovinazzi going to be in this battle for the podium places? Who knows? As Alarcon's done amazingly, but let's see where Giovinazzi comes out.
I think he might fall back a little bit. Here he comes on pit exit. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, he lost a little bit of time. Coming into the pits, I take a look at his pit time. He was a little bit slower. 8 seconds is what he did compared to 6.7. And then he also had a struggle on his last lap. So come out in 7th place, but he's in a good spot though, because these drivers ahead of him, Alarcon, Aberdeen, Zumstra, and Al-Zagari will be racing very hard, and that might help Giovinazzi get back up to them. But how about a good run for Al-Zagari after the first lap wreck, up to 6th place?
Yeah, his pit strategy has worked out absolute wonders for him, but I wonder if he sacrificed any overtake to get up to 6th. But we also must remember that Giovinazzi, I believe, was behind Grosseto and Muller before the pit stops, so he's gained a lot of time on them, just being in clean air and able to set down some good laps, and he might be able to catch up to the guys ahead of him soon enough. And I'm not sure if a podium's going to be on. It'll be a bit of a task, but yeah, either way. I've said this, I think, 3 times in the race now. Giovinazzi, do good in qualifying. You will be up there, I promise you. The 2 races that I've commentated over this season, he's done, he started from the back and just come through the field rapidly. He's set fastest laps. He's been absolutely amazing. And he will be an absolute top driver. We've got 2 drivers using the overtake on the main straight. This is Winkler and Tamboy going wheel to wheel. Tamboy not going to give this up easily, but just doesn't have the grip on the outside that he'd want and has to give up the place to Winkler, who moves up to 11th place. And Grosseto now on the back of Muller again. Muller was stuck behind for so long, but now I think he's just running so low on overtake. He's been left so vulnerable. And excuse me, it's Ben Ford overtaking Grosseto. I can't read. I'm blind. It's not my day today, is it? It's my drop week, honestly, for commentating. I should just give up. But yeah, Ben Ford has also had a good race. It's his debut, let's not forget, and he's challenging people who have been challenging the entire time. And look, he's putting pressure on the Italian. And never mind. I genuinely thought that Grosseto was on the back of Muller again. Honestly, I don't know if it's the tiredness getting to me or the fact that I'm severely dehydrated. I don't know. But either way, Ben Ford has put on a superb performance so far. Can he move himself up into 9th place? Well, find out over the next 13 laps.
I'm not surprised, Aaron. When you have like your last name shares the name with the greatest manufacturer of cars of all time in Ford, you're going to be fast. I mean, it's just, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they were fast all weekend. They swept the NASCAR championships, and he's running really good in the 10th position. I mean, when it comes to car manufacturers, we all think of one, and that's Ford. So really good job by him though in his debut, sitting 10th, right behind Grosseto, who's really shown a lot of pace, and hasn't really made a lot of mistakes. Commentators curse, don't wreck, but looking pretty good. Here's that battle in the top 5. Marcus Alicon, the final spot on the podium in 3rd, with Aberdeen, who is behind him. Aberdeen started at 2nd, so trying to get back up there. But Schnabel, Alicon, your final 2 steps on the podium, and there's when you race with the AI, Aaron, and you want to go with alien mode, the hardest one, you think you're going to race against guys like LaFaro. No, his is super alien mode, not even allowed to be on AI mode. So you can't even practice at this pace.
No, not really. I don't know what LaFaro has done. I don't know if he's just put an F1 engine in the back of his car. I don't know. Maybe he's secretly running... Actually, no, I was going to say Pirelli tyres, but no, Pirelli are worse, so never mind. But either way, LaFaro's shown absolutely electric pace today. No one's been able to challenge him at all. Just end off. He's looked absolutely faultless, and he's going to gain some points in the championship for this race. But I believe Schnabel will still be leading after this race if it stays where it is right now. And back to Ben Ford. Fun fact, I own a Ford. I drive a Ford Fiesta. I lied, it's my mum's car. But either way, it's a nice car to drive. I know you Americans don't really know what a Ford Fiesta is, because I don't really think it's as popular in your country, but it's a fun little hatchback. I like my Ford Fiesta. It's nice to drive, and I can chuck it around corners and it will forgive me, mostly. I did nearly fall in a ditch in it, but I saved it thanks to my electric car control skills. I should be a rally driver. I'm secretly Colin McRae. But Ben Ford, I don't know if he's going to embrace any inner Ford in him and try and overtake Grosseto, but he is gaining electrically on the straight, but unfortunately cannot find the straight line speed to overtake Grosseto on this lap, as we've got just over 10 laps to go in this race. It's absolutely flown by, to be honest. It's a fairly short track, only about 1 minute and 15 on average, and I felt like we started this race about 10 minutes ago, and I'd say towards this end of this race, it's absolutely heated up. And hello, is Ben Ford going to go for an overtake? But just on this lap, was not quite close enough.
Yeah, I can't really say much on manufacturers. I own a Dodge, Ford, and a Tesla, so I got 3 different car makes. But one thing about going fast, let's thank one of our sponsors, the Virtual Racing School. Improve your track performance. You got 50+ data packs between road and oval. Setups, track guides, the whole data analysis software, one-on-one coaching. You can have that too. VRS Racing School. Any of the sponsors are located below. If you want to look after the race is over, in the description, and click on those links and check them out. But when I got Dodge, Ford, and Tesla, I can't say anything about car makes.
Well, I can. I've had plenty over the last few years, but before we talk about car makes, let's just review this battle. And Alzagari, we were just talking about, has an amazing race, and he's just made a mistake somewhere. What's happened to Alzagari? He's lost about 3 places now. And what on earth has happened to the Spanish driver? Is he going to lose out to these guys as well? We'll just have to take a look and see what happened. As you can see, he tucks into the slipstream of, I believe... that is Dean Vella. He goes for a send into turn 1. That's very deep. And yeah, just unfortunately went in way too deep. And I think he was trying to go for a move on Zwemstra there. So he actually had some good pace and was catching up to the guys in front. But I think the lap car might have just put him off a little bit. And that's a real shame. We're going to have a look at another replay of what actually happened. And you can see the lap car on the inside tries to go for the mood on Zwemstra in front, but just completely misses it, and
that's a good idea.
Goes way too deep. Yeah, but a good thought process behind it, but just didn't work. That's all. So yeah, unfortunate. He's had a really good recovery drive as Alzagari, but he'll just have to settle for 7th place at the moment. But now he's got the task of keeping these 2 drivers behind him. Ben Ford, who got past Grosseto. We didn't even see that. This is, oh my god. And Grosseto just locked up into turn 1. But where on earth? Oh, is this going to be the beautiful switchback once again?
Here comes
Please.
Ford.
Please. Oh, look at this. Look at the beautiful speed from the Brit. I'm not biased whatsoever. What an overtake. And gets himself up into 8th place. He's up 10 places. He was basically last. And this is his first race. I'd like to remind everyone, this is his first race. How is he doing this? I don't know. Maybe he's just sandbagging for the whole season. Maybe just thought, I'll just start halfway through. And I can still win the championship.
I think he's got about 100 seconds of boost left because we're on board with him 120.
Yeah. He's really had a good debut race as Ben Ford. Maybe it's a fluke, I don't know. But here's Ben Muller. Oh dear, that's a huge one. And yeah, I saw 2 people were in the pits, and I believe that was Samuel Marr, a lapped car, and David Muller just was not expecting how slow he was going to be on the apex of that corner. And I'd honestly have to look at that again to see who was really at fault for that. As I think Samuel was just going really, really slow on the apex. But yeah, I wonder what you think.
I'm happy I'm in the booth. That's what I think. That was an unfortunate incident that happened, and but as we move on, Al Zagari trying to hold back the newcomer Ford. And then the newcomer Giovinacci, I believe he's new too, sitting in 6th. Really good run for these guys, and they're just learning every week, trying to get better for the next round. But like you said here at Zandvoort, it's tough to pass. When you try to make that pass, you can't make the mistake like what happened with Al Zagari. So maybe he's got that in his mind. Hopefully I don't do that again. But still sitting in a really good spot is Al Zagari, but who's sitting in the best spot is LaFaro, who's 9 seconds up. I feel bad for him because usually when you're in the lead, you get a lot of TV time, but when you're in front by 9 seconds, you can only show a guy leading so much. But here comes Al Zagari and Ford.
Yeah, they go side by side into turn 1. Ben Ford, can he promote himself up another place? Round the outside of turn 1, Al Zagari leaves him just enough space. And Ben Ford promotes himself up into 7th place, just about. And now we head through turn 3, and he's gotten ahead. And now Al Zagari really is suffering. I wonder if that little, should we say, I've forgotten the word now. Honestly, my brain isn't working today.
Rotating and motivating he was doing. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, there we go. Excursion, that's the word. Excursion off the track. There we go. There's the word for it. Honestly, my brain just isn't working today. Maybe I have a crayon stuck in it. I don't know. But yeah, Al Zagari really is suffering at the moment. He was on 5th was on the cards for him after what's been a fantastic recovery drive. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just not really gone his way after his little incident off the track. And he might honestly be under threat from Grosseto behind. Well, we've got about 5 laps to go in this race, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, he's got the overtake on 1:35 and counting. 75 seconds would be your complete last lap. So I think you just tried to get to about 100 seconds left with the overtake, and that way you get a good exit onto the big straight. So that's what I would do, but what I would do and what they would do is a lot different because usually what they do is the right thing. So,
well, not all the time. We have some people that are not in this race anymore for a reason. So, maybe if you just go slow and steady, you'll be not last. You'll be 18th right now. You'll be ahead of 2 people who've crashed out the race. So you just never know. But I mean, this car is probably one of the most difficult to get right on iRacing. I'd say it's really fun to drive. I think it's one of the more popular Formula cars that have been added in recent years. But it is just a bit difficult to get 100%, especially just the setup and just driving the car. It's super, super difficult. And you just have to give credit to the people who race it in real life. And it's an absolute credit to those drivers who can just iron down these cars and hook them up exactly the way they want to. Drivers like LaFaro, they've absolutely been the class of the field today. I mean, after 43 laps, they're 30 seconds ahead of most of the field. that really is some Red Bull type dominance, and he's done an absolutely amazing job as Lafaro. Still got a little bit to go though, about 5 laps left, and we'll see if he can come home with another dub this season. As Schnebel, I'm pretty sure, will be content to stay in second, and he will just about increase his gap over Alarcon, who currently sits in 3rd place.
Yeah, when you're sitting, 10 seconds back of the leader and then 17 in front of the driver behind you, you just kind of just chill and relax and try not to put it in the wall, because that would be very unfortunate for him. But I want to give a big shout out to this battle with the amateur division. You got Cabrel, Edward Pop, and Dean Vea in the battle for the final step on the podium there. So they've been running really good. They've had some unfortunate instances, but here comes a big move. I'm not sure if that was a leader. Or, yeah, that's the leader. That's Alzagari almost got into him there.
Yeah, that was honestly, that was a bit poor from Dean Vea there. He let Ford past, but made it really, really difficult for Alzagari. He couldn't make up his mind, and that could have been a bit of a huge one. But Grosseto is going to be the one probably most annoyed, as he ended up blocking him a little bit. And yeah, you can hear there in game chat. Actually, you can't, but I can. I can hear in game chat that a few drivers are not pleased at all with what Dean Vea was just doing. And it's allowed Winkler as well to catch up to these guys. And it's only a few tenths behind Grosseto now. So got a bit of a spicy battle going on from 7th all the way down to 10th now. As Grosseto just lost about a second because of that incident with Vea there, where he didn't display the best lapped car moving out the wayness that I've ever seen, but eventually moved out the way of everybody, and fairly safely. As we've got another slow car up ahead. I'm not quite sure who that is. I think that's Edward Pop, I believe. I might be completely wrong. No, I'm wrong. Add that to the list of the things I've gotten wrong today.
Running out of ink.
Yeah, it's getting too long at this point. It's actually ridiculous. But yeah, maybe I should find an alternate career. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm just, or maybe people find me being wrong funny. Maybe I should be a comedian. Maybe I should review alternate career choices. But there you can see Alzagari using a bit of overtake to try and catch up to the back of Ford. But honestly, I think Ford's just got this in the bag now. He's just too far ahead.
I think if you're Alzagari right now, I think you just run the boost all the way out, because remember, when that disengages, it's not active for 100 seconds. So speaking of fast times, the fastest driver is Leonard Schnabel now. Ran a little bit quicker time than Lafaro, but this is where it gets real exciting, when the lap times can kind of come down. Actually, the fastest is David Muller. I'm sorry, 1:14.21. I was not expecting that. Just came up on the timing and scoring in 17th place, but he used a lot of boost to get that time.
Yeah, I was just about to say that he probably used a little bit of boost to get that fastest lap. Who knows? But I was going to say the other fastest man as well is Giovinacci in 6th place, who's just beginning to catch up to the back of Zwemstra now. And, well, his strategy has worked out really well for him. He's set lightning pace this race, and he's just used a little bit of overtake on that last lap to close the gap. And, well, he'll probably just use the rest of it once he can on that final lap. And here is Pulch trying to go for an overtake on Tambui. This is for 11th place. And of course, Tambui, well within his rights to fight for position. Of course, you don't get points based on where you finish in your class. You get points based on where you finish overall. So Tambui, of course, is going to fight for every single point that he can. And Pulch will want to be getting past him as soon as possible. As Swemstra just starting to lose time a little bit to the guys in front, and is falling very much into the hands of Giovinacci. And well, I think it's just a matter of time before the Italian gets past.
Yep, white flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Lafaro, he's been showing the way the whole time. So yeah, the new drivers, Tambui and Ben Ford, running really strong. Tambui sitting in 2nd place in the amateurs. But here's Giovinacci. He's got 30 seconds left to the boost. He's going to use it all the way till it runs out. See if he can make a move on Zwamstra. Makes a big dive, and is it gonna stick?
No,
No.
not quite. And I did think that was a bit of a lunge, but fair play to Zwempsha for seeing it coming and just moving out of the way so they didn't make contact. But is Giovinazzi going to be able to get a good run and overtake the Dutch driver as we head into one of the fastest corners on the track? Wow, it's actually the fastest. As there you can see, Giovinazzi has run out of boost. He has absolutely nothing left. So if he wants to overtake, he's going to have to do it on pure skill. But you can see there's Rennsport using the last of his boost. And I think that's going to be the end of it, as Lafaro has just crossed the line to win in Zandvoort. And, well, he's still got boost to spare. He still had boost to spare coming across the line. That just shows you how dominant he was today. And Schnebel had nothing left, as Lafaro did a 13.9. And that's not the best line I've ever seen around that corner from Marcus Alacron. But nevertheless, he's just run out of boost, but he won't care. He comes across the line in third. He's done a pretty good comeback, gained 4 places. Aberdeen lost a few. Swempster just holds off Giovinazzi, as Giovinazzi had an amazing comeback drive, starting down in 16th. And, well, talk about drives. Ben Ford from pretty much last all the way up to 7th place and set some really good lap times. But Grosseto wins in AM as well. He's going to gain on, I believe it's Cesar Zabral, who currently leads quite a bit, as he's down in 14th and 3rd in class. And, yeah, didn't have any of the run to the line finishes that I was hoping for. But either way, that was still a decent race, but probably not the most entertaining of the season.
I tell you what, though, Aaron, those ROM Racing teammates, Ben Ford, 7th overall, and then Tamboy, who finished in 11th overall. Those guys are going to be a force the rest of the season. Here we go to the race results. Your winner, Giuseppe Laforo, who led from start to finish, including the pit stop. We keep that in mind. He led, was still leading when he pitted. Lennart Schnabel second, another great run for him. Final spot on the podium. Marcus Alacon and Leigh Aberdeen fourth. Kevin Swamstra fifth. Cesar Giovacci in 6th. Ben Ford, the newcomer to the series, 7th, up 11 spots from where he started. And then Al Zagari in 8th. Rough race for him, down 3 spots. Then your winner of the amateur division, Fabio Grosseto, good points day for him. Carl Winkler moved up 7 spots from where he started. He finished 10th. And then Jua Timboy in 11th. Mac Paluch in 12th. Chris Rosenkrantz 13th, followed by Cesar Cabral, Edward Pop, Dean Vea, David Moeller, Dorian Arroyo, Samuel Ma, and Marco Cezana round out the field. And, Aaron, what a fantastic race. But I think we're going to give you the honor to talk to Lafaro, your race winner.
Well, I would absolutely appreciate the honor to talk to our race winner, Giuseppe Lafaro. I mean, what a drive that was. You led every single lap, and I believe you got fastest lap as well. And
Yes.
First off, just congratulations. That was an absolutely amazing race from you. Just talk us through it. I mean, probably was a bit boring from your perspective, right?
Yes. To be honest, I wasn't expecting to be this quick today, but in qualify, I made the pole position by 4 cents. So I said to myself, simply do the first 5-10 laps with a decent pace, try to create a gap, and then manage the tires, and it is what I did. To be honest, there is nothing more to say. But when you are in front, especially in this type of tracks, it's impossible to be overtaken. So either if I wasn't the fastest, it was really difficult to pass here. But when you're in front, you can manage the pace, and you can do basically whatever you want. I was faster basically every lap. So yeah, it's incredible for me too. To be honest, I think I this is the track that suits me the most. I'll try to do another race like this next time, but obviously it's very very difficult. And it's it's incredible result. Also because now I'm reducing the gaps from Nebel Alarcon in the championship. So I'll try to do another good race next time and try to close the gap.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's difficult to ask you that many questions because it's just you won really easily. It's like, oh god, what? It was honestly the most easy drive I've seen from anyone I've ever commentated over. It looks so easy for you. So I mean, the only other question really I've got for you is: do you think you can carry on this type of form all the way to the end of the season? We've got Road America next. Do you think you can replicate this kind of result, or do you think it'll be a bit more of a challenge there?
I don't think so. As I say, that this is the track that suits me the most. And Road America, I don't particularly like it. And yeah, I mean, I have to try the tracks before, but I think Road America will be a tough track for me. And yeah, we will see for sure, but I can't speak now.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably the most dominant performance we've seen all season. So, congratulations, Lafara. But before we let you go, celebrate, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I wanted to. Can I do it in Italian this time?
Yeah, of course you can.
Ok. Ciao nonna, un bacione. Questa vittoria per te, come hai visto, è andata liscia come l'olio, tranquilla e niente, veramente un bacione, un mega abbraccio, te la dedico. Finalmente siamo riusciti a vincere sta gara e speriamo che, insomma, riesco a vincere anche la prossima volta. Un bacione nonna. Mua.
Well, thank you, Lafara, for coming to talk to us. And well, good luck for next week. And
Thank you.
congratulations on this amazing win.
Bye bye, bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
Always
that
such a great
was,
interview with him.
yeah,
Always such a
honestly,
good interview.
well, good lad. But yeah, that was your race winner. And well, you get to decide who you want to talk to next.
I'm gonna take our amateur race winner, Fabio Grassetto.
I hope for me.
Oh, hey Fabio, congrats on the your great race. You won the amateur division there. Can you take us how the race went for you?
Yeah, it was a clean race for me. I did a good start. I overtook Edward Pop on the turn 3, I think. Yeah, it was a good overtake, and from there I just thought about the championship. I just try to keep it clean, and yeah, I got some good points tonight.
Yeah, you had some really good points tonight, and I missed last week, so it's good to be back. But speaking of next week, we go to Road America. Completely different track than where we've been to pretty much all season. What are your thoughts on Road America?
Yeah, we were just talking about Road America in the waiting area, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of drafting. I think there will be some guys like me, maybe, that doesn't just have the pace. Just we can fight the guys in front because of the draft, maybe. So another good opportunity for me. Yeah, just I hope to keep it clean because it's a very narrow track and the mistake is very easy. Yeah, I hope just to keep it clean until the end of the season.
Yeah, it's a very different track. Like you said, very narrow track, and you showed a lot of pace throughout the season. So we're really excited to see how you do next week. But is there anybody like to thank to help you get on the track?
Yeah, just thank all the guys and the team, my teammates, that we just drive together on practice, and yeah, so ciao.
Awesome. Well, congrats on another fantastic race. We can't wait to watch you next week.
Okay, thank you. See you next week, guys.
Yeah, that was Fabio Grassetto who took home the win in the amateur division. Aaron, it's your choice now.
I think it would be a disservice to not interview the man who sets the other lightning pace. If we pretend Lafaro didn't exist, Schnebel, you were setting some really good pace that race, but unfortunately, the man ahead of you was, well, just unstoppable. Is there anything you really could have done today, or do you think second was kind of your limit?
I don't think so. There was anything to do about the pace of Giuseppe. I mean, hats off. That was ridiculously fast. We had to settle for second place. We knew that already after qualifying. I mean, he was 4/10 quicker than Lee, and Lee is not a slow driver at any means, but damn, that was ridiculous. But on the other hand, the race was decent as well. We had great pace throughout the whole race. Not quite fast enough, but still fast enough for P2. Yeah, I think that was the maximum today. Maybe next week it will be better. I hope so, but not today.
Yeah, I mean, surely you still have to look at the positives this race. You do increase your lead on Alicon behind just by a little bit. So heading into Road America next week, do you think you'll be able to change it up and hopefully get another race win under your belt and hopefully be able to extend your lead even more?
Well, I hope so. Usually Road America is a bit of a draft test. We're gonna see people in the top 5 probably that are usually down the order a bit, but it's great tracks are in the next couple of weeks. So I hope for the best and hopefully getting another win. Because I still got only one win. That's a bit weird. But yeah, I mean, still we need to get points, decent points. Not only pushing for the win, but maybe also sometimes for P2, P3, whatever it's on the line. We need to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a good mentality to have. Just take whatever points you can. Of course, me and you have gone wheel to wheel in a championship before, but we don't talk about who won. But anyway, before we let you go, Schnabel, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to my whole team. We had a really good day today. Good effort from those boys as well. Then shout out to my parents and to you. I'll give the stream a go in the next couple of days, and I hope we have another win next week. We'll see.
Well, thank you for coming and talking with us, Lennart, and good luck for next week.
Thank you.
And looks like we've only got one more time for an interview, and this time it's going to be Marcus Alarcon, and I'll let you do the honors.
Hey, Marcus, it's Avery up in the booth. Congrats on a podium race there. You moved up 4 spots here at Zandvoort. Really good run for you towards the end of the race, having a little bit of speed. How were you able to finish up on the podium?
Hello guys, good night. Yeah, what a race, guys. I struggled a lot from lap 1. I haven't got the pace. First of all, let me congratulate Giuseppe. He deserved it, and Lennart. They both were out of my pace. Yeah. In the quali, I saw I was so slow this week. So I tried to lose the minimum amount of points. At the beginning, I tried to stay safe and just keep the car on the black area. And little by little, I was being faster, catching the guys in front. And it was very difficult to overtake on track, so I decided to wait to the overtake, and yeah, it worked. In the pit exit it was interesting, but yeah, I keep the P3, so extremely happy today.
Yeah, we seen it was very tough to pass, and I did a really good job managing your P3 finish. We go to Road America next week. Are you excited for that?
Yeah, definitely. Next few race, I love the tracks, so you never know. how it's gonna be, but for sure I will enjoy more than today. I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank for helping you?
My team, they gave me a setup on the last hour, so they deserve it. My spotter, because she helped me a lot with the strategy, and my family, of course, as always.
Absolutely. Congrats again on a fantastic race. We're really looking forward to seeing you next week at Road America.
Thank you, Ari. See you next week, guys. Ciao, ciao.
That's Marcus Alicon, who finished third. Aaron put on a fantastic race. What are your thoughts on Road America for next week?
Well, I've been driving the beep out of it this week for IMSA, so I mean, I love Road America, honestly. I hate to say that as a Brit, but I really do. It's a really good track, in my opinion. I just work really well at it. I find it so fun to drive, and yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun watch next week. Basically, the opposite to this track is going to be a lot of drafting, a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing, and yeah, I'm quite sad that I'm not commentating on it. Sad face. But yeah, lucky you.
Yeah, Sam will be back with us next week. Remember, if you're still tuned in, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, check out Apex Racing Academy, SDK Gaming, and the VRS for setups. So, from everybody here at Apex Racing TV, this is a conclusion of the Circuit Zandvoort round number 6 of the Apex Racing League Super Formula Series. I am Avery McDonald. Joined alongside me was Aaron Smith and Luis Araya. We'll see you next week. Night, night.